Tashan, as you've said, like kind of addressing issues of race, like intersection of kind of black culture and the NFL and sports is kind of something that has always maybe been a part of your coverage. Like you see it in kind of the tweets, and you've never kind of been afraid. That's one thing I've always kind of respected about you. Like you're never afraid to like bring bring it up, like if it's topical and it's related to kind of what you're doing. But you bring it up even if people aren't going to like it, like you still going to get your message across, right? And so
Yeah.
but I say that because I feel like sometimes people really struggle, especially us kind of the younger generation, like struggle balancing like being professional with like expressing our true authentic self. So I guess that's my question. Like, what advice would you give to like kind of young rising professionals like yourself in terms of like how to best balance being a professional, doing your job the right way as we know it should be done, while not compromising who you are and kind of what you stand for?
Yeah, I feel like the first stage of that is just keeping your emotions in check. Like, obviously, if you are of these groups and you care about these kind of things, like a lot of this shit can piss you off, whether it's just these killings that happen every year or the reaction to them or how they're covered or microaggressions or whatever the area of offense may be. Like, it's going to be natural to have an emotional response to it, but I would just caution against like your most vivid and initial emotional response being what you take to social media or into a public forum where you can potentially have blowback as a result of it. Hit the group chat, call somebody, like do that instead, gather your thoughts and put together something coherent, and it actually has some sort of purpose and substance to it, because that's more impactful anyway than you
Mhm.
just getting on social media and saying a bunch of cuss words or other things that you shouldn't say. Like, put together a concrete thought, something, or shit, write a story, do a podcast like I did, or like all these different creative mediums that we have. Like, make something of it that like actually can have an impact, and doesn't just get you social engagement. Like, I don't do that stuff. Like, whether it's my tweets or writing a story or whatever to have my little moment of fame or whatever, it's because I think it needs to be said. And, bringing it up and having discussions about it can actually influence these things and maybe hopefully, one day reduce the number of occurrences of these racist incidents or prejudice incidents or whatever it may be. And so I think for the young people is just being smart with it. Like, you have to be aware of like where you're at. Like, I'm at the Athletic, and like we're pretty liberal with like what we're allowed to say, or write or say, in audio format, but not everywhere's like that. Like, if your place, whatever, I'm not gonna name anybody, but like we all know certain organizations don't let you say things, like don't get fired over it. It's not worth that. Like, you want to be impactful and have a voice and be yourself. But, if it's something that will like cost you your job, like don't do it. But within that, if you feel like you're being restricted and can't be yourself and do what you want to do, like maybe it's time to look about going elsewhere. Like, that's,
Yeah.
the decision that I made coming out. Like, I wasn't going to work anywhere that tried to put those kind of restraints on me. And the place that I've worked at so far, I've only worked one place, so I mean, this is my own experience. But like, they haven't done that. But I can't say it wouldn't happen to me at some point 10, 15 years down the road. Like, who knows? But yeah, it's just keeping your emotion in check, making sure that what you're about to say like actually does something. Like, I don't think outrage just for the sake of outrage is particularly useful. And then and just make sure that like your platform is actually, like I said, being used in a purposeful way, because we are privileged in this situation. However many followers you have on social media or however many people click on your story, like, there's a certain responsibility that comes with that. You can't just be throwing bullshit out here and having people, absorb it and kind of taking that as representation of the group that you represent, because it's a small one. Us,
Mhm.
being diverse journalists, and that's why like I don't force it. Like, I'm not. We all, there's plenty of people out there that just find something to be upset about in pretty much everything from a racial standpoint, or want to say something controversial just to get clicks, and like people can see through that. That's what I would say. Like, be yourself, but be authentic. Like, if it's
Mm.
actually something you feel and you actually have something to say, do that, but don't just say shit just to say it. Like, there's really
Yeah.
zero value in that. And so, it's got there's a push and pull to it, and you have to be reactive based on where you are. But just being you at the end of the day is what it comes down to, and being comfortable with that, and letting whatever happens from there happen.